Welcome to another episode of Graco Garage. In today's episode, we're going to be talking all about guns. Glue guns, that is. Alright guys, in today's episode, I'm going to show you how to install a GM100 gun. We'll be putting the gun on a bar, we'll be hooking it up to the hose and hooking up a trigger. Alright guys, first thing we want to do is loosen the 3mm set screw in the front of the gun. This does not need to come all the way out, just loose. Then we will pop the solenoid out and save that for later. Next, with our 5mm Allen wrench and our 3mm Allen wrench, we'll loosen those Allen screws on the mounting bracket. Now we can swing the mounting bracket out of the way. We can position it on our bar. And then with enough clearance, we can swing that back into place and then tighten those back down. At this point, I want to mention that for the mounting bar, we typically prefer either a 1/2 inch diameter round bar or a 1/2 inch diameter hex bar with a 1/2 inch from flat to flat. The hex bar is going to hold those guns a lot more securely, but it doesn't really offer many options for repositioning the gun forward and backward. So then we tighten those down, get them nice and snug so that this gun doesn't move around at all. Next, we'll be taking our hose and mounting it to the back of the gun. Now, if this hose mounting location doesn't work in your particular situation, the guns do come with a straight fitting or a 90-degree fitting to accommodate more of those installation locations. Now that we've got the hose connected, we'll take our 9/16 wrench and our 11/16 wrench, and we'll tighten that hose down on the fitting. Next, we're going to take the cord set from the hose with the cord set from the gun. We'll spin those together until they line up, twist until you hear a click, and then strap that cord set back out of the way, typically along the hose. Next, we can go ahead and take that solenoid, place that back in, wiggle it until we feel it bottom out, and then tighten that 3mm set screw in the front again. You don't need to get too tight on that set screw, just tight enough that you don't think it's going to back out. Next, we're moving on to the nozzle installation. Depending on the installation, we can either use a 90-degree nozzle, as shown here, or in this case, we'll be installing a straight nozzle. That nozzle is going to go right on the bottom of the module. Make sure you can spin that on with your fingers, at least a couple threads, just to make sure you don't get anything cross-threaded. And then tighten that down the rest of the way with a 1/2 inch wrench. Go ahead and tighten that on there so it's not going to come off, but don't get too tight because you can shear off the front of that module. Next, we'll take our gun trigger wire, which is an M8 plug. We'll plug that into the solenoid, tighten that down, and we can strap that cord back along the hose with the gun cord set as well. Next, we'll connect our air into the solenoid. Now this comes supplied with a 1/4 inch push to connect fitting from the factory. We also supply a 6mm push to connect fitting in the package. But here we have our 1/4 inch length of air hose going into our 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch adapter. And we can plug that in place. Now I do recommend supplying your guns with a 3/8 inch air hose very close to the gun and then reducing it to a 1/4 inch at the gun. This is not necessary in all applications. However, it will ensure that your guns have as much air as they need to cycle at those really high cycle rates. All right guys, now we've got our GM100 gun mounted, but I do need to let you know the GM100 modules need clean, dry air to be supplied. That air should conform to an ISO standard, which will be listed in the description below. Also, if you're installing this gun in a dusty or dirty environment, I do recommend installing the muffler kits. The part number for those mufflers will be included in the description below as well. But those mufflers are just going to help keep any dust and debris out of these exhaust ports and keep that solenoid running well for a nice long time. In any case, guys, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Graco Garage.